You're watching ABC4 News, celebrating 75 years.
The Biden administration and Pentagon officials saying there is a serious concern for national security. This following a leak of dozens of documents with information on the war in Ukraine and U.S. involvement.
Washington correspondent Alexandra Limon has more on the potential impact of the leaked information.
Officials say the Pentagon has reached out to allies to talk about this leak and that it's further limiting the number of people who can view key classified documents, as well as holding daily meetings to assess the damage.
We take this very seriously, and we will continue to investigate and turn over every rock until we find the source of this.
U.S. officials are outraged about the online leak of classified briefing documents about the war in Ukraine.
One of the things that's notable is how current they are.
Officials and Dr. Joanna Spear, professor of international affairs at George Washington University, agree the leak is a serious national security concern that also exposes information about other U.S. allies.
And Egypt planning to supply 40,000 rockets to Russia. This is a U.S. ally that gets over $1 billion in U.S. aid each year.
Spear says there are signs parts of the documents were changed to spread misinformation and put Russia in a more favorable light.
And the document that we think has been doctored is the one that says that Ukraine has got a lot more war deaths than Russia.
The leak only became publicly known a few days ago when the documents hit Twitter. That's when Dr. Spear believes the editing happened. But before that, the documents may have been circling on a messaging site called Discord.
Coming out through a gaming site where people discuss Minecraft more than they do international politics. And it's not clear what the motive is.
Where exactly and who had access at that point, we don't know. We simply don't know at this point.
While it's believed that about 100 documents were leaked, U.S. officials admit they don't know the extent of the leak or whether it's been contained. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Behind the Badge, brought to you by Big O Tires.
Well, as we talk about the likelihood of spring flooding in Utah, crews in Morgan County have been getting ready for it for months.
ABC4's Brian Carlson showing us what they're doing to avoid major water problems in today's Behind the Badge.
In my talks with emergency management staff, some are comparing this year to Utah's big flooding years of 2011 or 1983. So for them, it's not a question of if we'll see flooding, more of where and how much.
Watching rivers and streams and this season's massive snowpack is a big focus right now in Morgan County.
I've been keeping an eye on the snowpack ever since December, and it just keeps climbing.
Deputy Austin Turner with the Morgan County Sheriff's Office is the county's emergency manager. Turner tells me with the weather warming up, Morgan is expecting significant spring flooding.
This is all in the floodplain. So
this could be underwater this spring?
Yeah.
Turner says they've been working since January to stay ahead of the snow runoff. Water in the Weaver River is running high right now on purpose to empty the reservoirs above, and the county has dumped 20 truckloads of sand around town so families can fill up as many sandbags as they need.
So we're going to get ahead of it now. We as a group are doing everything in our capabilities to mitigate as much flooding in the future as possible.
We've put out $3,000.
Part of that preparation includes getting more flood equipment.
Do you use all of these?
We'll use them all.
Turner has worked with the Morgan Fire Marshal to purchase at least 4 new pumps. Firefighters expect they'll need to pump water out of people's homes or yards.
It's just going to depend on what Mother Nature does. If she decides she wants to warm it up, then we're in real trouble.
And the need for those pumps has already started. Just days ago, rainwater filled up this snowy field in Morgan County, which began spilling out into the neighborhood below. And that forced crews to find a creative way to release it.
So they carved out these walking paths to channel the water down into a culvert to go under the street and not on top of it.
Turner expects it won't be long before crews are called out again, so he's working on getting heavier equipment to help them clear the water's paths.
All in anticipation that hopefully we can keep ahead of it just enough that we don't have too many homes get flooded.
Although the water and the snow isn't a major problem yet, Turner believes it's only a matter of time.
So how soon can we see possible major flooding? Well, they believe it may start anytime between now and next week. They're hoping people who live at these at-risk areas heed the warning. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, that warning has been issued, so it is a matter of how prepared are we?
Yeah, and Alana, with temperatures warming up as much as they did today, we know that snow has to be melting, right?
Oh, okay. Compare this to last week, guys. We were 50 degrees colder last Tuesday. 50 degrees colder. Can you believe that? And here we are under high pressure with clear skies and lots of sunshine. Amazing shot here from Deer Creek Reservoir. Chris Williams catching it, breaking up that ice and breaking up that winter weather pattern, because now we've brought in the warmth, and that has really changed things up. We broke the record here in Salt Lake. Live view from St. George, looking pretty. They topped out at 89 thus far. Lots of sunshine, but the heat is on in the southwest corner of the state, one of the areas with the most snowpack in the state. Temperatures now in the 70s, starting to cool. 82 in Salt Lake, 88 in St. George, so we've peaked. Low 80s in Moab and 70s in places like Castle Country, Milford, and Vernal. Whew. We picked up 8.5 inches of snow last Tuesday. 8.5 inches of snow, and here we are breaking the record. We also saw a record mild overnight, 56 for the low in Salt Lake. So that'll just tell you we have really changed things. It's a roller coaster this spring. That high pressure helping with this big change. Here comes a cold front headed our way. We talked about increasing cloud cover yesterday. This evening, we're going to start to see it in the northwest corner of the state in the next couple of hours. A cold front is on the way, and it's going to drastically drop our temperatures. We've been climbing, and boom, we're going to drop just like that. But we do rebound. So we know this front is going to come in, do its job, and then we'll start to warm again. Let's walk through the timing here. There's the front on the move. Here we go into our Wednesday. By tomorrow morning, quiet conditions, but we do have a little more cloud cover. The winds will still be cranking. A southerly component to our winds helping warm our temperatures. And tomorrow, that's going to be the case. Windy conditions ahead of this front. So we're going to see that throughout Utah, and then moisture behind it. It starts to fill in later on in the evening and as we head into the overnight. Now, it's a pretty well-defined front, and it starts to slide in to northern Utah by 8 a.m. Thursday. Because of the timing of the precipitation, we could get cold enough to see some straight snow. It's a dramatic front. It's going to drastically drop our temperatures, and places like Cache Valley, the mountains, and even in some of our valleys could see some sloppy spring snow. It's not going to stick around. We have really warm temperatures on the ground, so it could just be a little slushy for a moment as the moisture comes through. By 6 p.m. it's more showery hanging on in the higher elevations, but we get colder temperatures behind it. So again, that precipitation could be rain, mixed rain and snow, or just straight snow. We see that up towards Cache Valley, especially with the timing of this system. 4 to 8 inches expected for the mountains. Everywhere else, not expecting too much. Daytime highs will still be above average for tomorrow, and then we get that colder air as we head into Thursday. 50s and 70s out there. 83 in Moab. Don't underestimate that southerly wind. 70s and upper 60s along the I-15 corridor, and 80s in St. George. Mid 80s at that, so a little cooler than where you were today. Lots of sunshine holding on in Washington County. But the winds are going to be the big ticket item there. So heads up, winds will be whipping, and we see them really hang on through the end of the work week in southern Utah. Calming down by the weekend, temperatures go back to the 80s, and it's just like that. Like winter is a blip on the radar, right? A thing of the past. Chance for some rain on Thursday. And look at how our numbers, we hit 83 today. We're going to be 49 following that cold front. We do warm things back up. But we were 50 degrees colder last Tuesday.
That just blows my mind.
I mean,
yes.
I remember it, though.
I feel like I came to this desk last Tuesday and you said, when are we going to warm up? And here we are.